When I first saw the previews for this movie a couple months back, the first thought that popped into my mind was, wait a minute, why are they remaking the Amityville Horror again? Turns out this is not the Amityville Horror. It's based off of another true story of a family and their experiences in a house in Connecticut. Now, to be brutally honest, I really didn't want to see this. I probably should have gone and seen Monsters vs. Aliens. It probably would have been better than this movie. But I do love horror films, like I've mentioned before. So I did go into this movie somewhat looking forward to it, hoping that it would be good. However, my hopes were dashed in about the first 20-25 minutes. What we have in this film is this family who's looking for a new house because their son happens to have a form of cancer, and they're tired of driving back and forth to get his therapy at the hospital. So what they decide to do is buy a house that's somewhat closer to where they have to commute to every day. They find this house, which seems perfect. It's cheap, it's huge, has enough room for everyone in the family. It turns out that way in the past it used to be a funeral parlor, it was also a crematorium, you know, all that stuff. But, of course, the family decides, oh no, this is fine, we'll take it. I don't know about you, but I would be a little, you know, on edge living in a place that used to be a crematorium. But, you know, this family thinks it's fine, whatever. So the family settles in, but right off the bat, they notice that things aren't all normal in this house. They have food going bad the day they buy it. They start seeing things and shadows. They start finding out more of the history of this place. Then it's not just a funeral parlor and a crematorium. There's apparently a bit more than that. So you have the basis of the plot right there. In my personal opinion, this film is Hollywood's dedication to the jump scare. For those of you who don't know what a jump scare is, I'll try to describe it. Jump scare is when one of the characters is, let's say, walking around a corner or is looking into a mirror. It's a nice, calm, soothing scene, and then as soon as they look back into the mirror or walk around the corner, a cat jumps out at them, or someone appears in the mirror with a lot of big, jarring music in the background. Now, most horror films use these nowadays, and personally, I don't like it. The problem with jump scares is that you can really only get one or two good ones in a movie. Past that, they are predictable, and you see them coming a mile away. So you are not scared. This film easily had about 15 to 20 jump scares in it. And frankly, how is that scary? There is nothing scary about that. In my personal opinion, the scariest films don't even use jump scares. The best example I can think of is Silence of the Lambs. I've seen that film several times, and every time I've seen it, I love the fact that they do not use jump scares in that film. Yet, most people are terrified by that movie. And it's not because you're jumping in your seat, it's because you are genuinely frightened by the characters in that film. So my biggest problem with this is that this film, which is supposed to be a horror film, isn't horrifying. It's just quick little jumps. Now on the plus side, this movie did have some pretty good computer-generated effects. The cast was primarily good as well. However, there were some parts of the story that really did need to be included about how the father was somehow abusive, but that didn't need to be in there. But past that, the plot overall was pretty good, and towards the end of this film, when the whole house starts to come alive and just says, you know what, screw this family, I'm gonna mess their lives up, that part actually was a bit frightening. But that was the only time in the whole film where I felt a little bit scared. The rest of the time I'm just sitting there and I was about to pass out from complete boredom. Aside from good special effects and pretty good acting, this film has nothing going for it. The only people who should be scared by this movie are those who have never seen a horror film before in their life and 13-year-old teeny boppers. Past that, no one should be scared by this movie. So, final rating. While I thought that the majority of the story was good in this movie, and the majority of the actors also did a good job, I'm just sick and tired of going into horror films and just seeing more and more jumps. 15 to 20 jump scares do not make a horror film. So again, this is something you don't really need to see. So I am going to give this film 2 stars. This is a movie you'll likely want to skip at the theater. If you really want to see this, I suggest that you rent it. Please, please do not spend your money at the theater for this. Now again, this isn't a terrible film. It's just not something you need to see. But if you are a horror fan, just avoid it completely. You'll just be upset with the 20 jump scares that are in here. But this film did get me thinking on one thing. I'm sure many of you saw Freddy vs. Jason a while back, and Hollywood's been trying to think of another way to get another versus film in there. You know, pairing Michael Myers with someone, or maybe the guy from Texas Chainsaw Massacre against someone in a versus film. You know what would be interesting? Get this house, pair it up with the house from Amityville Horror, and let them go at it. You get these 2 demented houses together, and you've got a good frickin' film. Have these 2 duke it out with the ghosts that are inside, just beating the hell out of each other. Hell, that'd make a pretty good movie. However, it'd probably comprise of about 45 to 50 jump scares, so it probably wouldn't even be that scary. So, take care.